Alright, what is going on, guys? We're in like a dry spell of content this week and like last week because it is Golden Week in Japan right now, so everything should be going back to normal sometime this week, so looking forward to more content then. But until then, I'm gonna go ahead and just talk over a couple things that I just want to get out of the way and help you guys further improve your gameplay on Logres. So today we'll be going over Extinction Wave, Nullification Wave, God Waves, whatever you want to call them. There's multiple different versions of these waves. Usually they all have the same idea behind it. It's just there to get rid of all your buffs. So if you have like damage limit, elemental buff, HP buffs, quick cooldown reduction buffs, any sort of buffs like that, it all gets removed when it gets hit by Extinction Wave. So I'll be talking briefly on what you should be doing on each class during Extinction Wave and how to minimize your losses when you get hit by it, because it's one of those things that are added to the game more frequently now for global players, so it's something to look out for. So this video will help you out with that. So going down the list, we'll start with the supports first. So for Guardians, most of the times if you, in in-game content, if you get hit by an Extinction Wave, the first thing you should be trying to do is to get your full metal up. So full metal can be wiped by Extinction Wave, so that's why I like to hold it to the very end. This is why sometimes 2 is required, but you don't need really 2. 1 high level legendary full metal is perfectly fine. That'll keep you basically it'll be up most of the time for you to react to it, so just 1 is fine. Just so you can save the extra slot for something else more useful. That's why I prefer that over another full metal. But if you don't have it, 2 is perfectly fine. So again, when you get hit by the Extinction Wave, make sure that's the first thing to go up. And then if you want to resurrect your teammates right there, if you feel like that's the perfect time, go ahead and go resurrect them, and they go ahead and proceed with the next part of the fight. Oh god, I kind of screwed up this box fight. That's kind of embarrassing. But that's what's the most important thing for Guardians to do. The main thing is to survive, because usually after an Extinction Wave, if you don't have Trembling or you don't have Prison HP buffs, you will be at 1-1 HP. That's just the rule of it. If you don't have Trembling or you don't have Prison Shield up, you're gonna be at 1-1 HP. So you have to make sure you have those buffs up, and you gotta make sure that you have your full metal up as well. Otherwise, it will be extremely annoying to deal with that. So for Valkyries, for beginning part of Extinction Waves, like normal ones and Nullification Waves, those are pretty self-explanatory. Basically, during those times, just make sure you have your quick territory up. Most of the time, Trembling is perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about using a Butterfly Scepter. So make sure your quick territory is up during those times. And if you don't have a Guardian present, just make sure you have a Butterfly Scepter ready on hand to use it. Otherwise, your team will probably wipe from the 1-1 HP. So keep that in mind. Later on, when there's God Waves available, basically what a God Wave is, that one's extremely powerful. Not only does it wipe all your buffs, it puts all your EP at 0. So you gotta be very careful about that. Situations as to those, make sure you have 1 tier 3 weapon on hand. For me personally, I like using Starbird, so make sure you have a Starbird on hand, and as soon as you get hit by that wave and you're still alive, use that. Not only will it give you all your stats and buffs back to you normally from the Starbird, you also get the EP regen, because tier 3 weapons cost 0 EP, and when you get hit by the 0 EP wave, you gotta make sure you have EP on hand. Otherwise, you're out of liability by not helping out your teammates by healing or doing other kind of buffs that will help them DPS in the long run. So make sure you have that on hand. For DPS, most of the time they're self-explanatory as well. Just make sure, because EX waves do last for 1 minute most of the time. Sometimes, very rare occasions, they last for 45 seconds before the next one hits. But most of the time they are 1 minute. So what you should be doing is, if you have like a Berserk or you have like Eclipse, any sort of that stuff, make sure you use it as frequent as possible. You don't have to be very skeptical about it. But keep in mind, it is 1 minute, so after you use the second one, hold on to it just a little bit longer. There might be a wave coming up, so after you hold on to that next one, use that right off the bat, and you should go ahead and go back to stacking. Those most important thing to do, like say extinction wave is coming up, and you're about 45 seconds into the fight, and the boss still hasn't used extinction wave. What you should be doing this entire time is just building up your stacks. So like if you have 2 Osiris, 2 Athenas, 2 Goddesses, any sort of that stuff, spam those, get the stacks down. Stacks cannot be removed by extinction wave, but buffs can. So the best thing you can do in that scenario is just keep doing DPS and make sure your stacks are always on cooldown, because as soon as the EX wave hits and you use a weapon as you use a weapon before the quick territory hits, your weapon will go back on slow cooldowns. So you want to make sure you use all your stacks before the extinction wave hits. And then once the extinction wave hits, go ahead and use your Eclipse, use your Berserk buffs. This is a better off trade to take the slow debuff, because Eclipse and Berserk are generally about 35 seconds each, I think. 25-35 seconds. So even without quick territory, it's a very fast cooldown compared to a stacker, which is 1 minute. So it's better for you to use the stackers with a 40-second cooldown with the quick territory versus losing that full 1 minute from the stacker. So you want to make sure you have all your stackers on cooldown before the EX wave hits. And then once it hits, pop your damage medal, pop your Eclipse, pop all of those, and then go back in the gameplay. And that's the best thing to do for those situations. Alright, so those are some quick tips, guys, on Extinction Wave. Very, very easy mechanic to maneuver around. Sometimes it can be tricky for some people that aren't used to it, because most of the time you're spamming tier 3 weapons and you're like, oh god, I'm at 1 HP. You don't know how to handle it. So those are just some tips, guys, and these are for party play most of the times. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.